Well, hello, Laura. I finally get to have you on call with me because I missed our last appointment. But now I get to talk to Laura Dame, and we're going to talk art and play and all that kind of fun stuff.
Awesome.
So tell us, I don't know anything about you except for that I love your art. And when it comes through my feed, I'm just like, oh, I have to have her on the Virtual Art Summit. So now you're on the Virtual Art Summit. So,
um, so tell a little about myself.
yeah, I want to hear your story. Like, how did you end up in this online world of making art?
So it started probably about eight or 9 years ago now. I was going to school to be an ultrasound technician, and I was working part-time at a restaurant, and things were just super stressful. Um, Trying to just do everything and like keep the house afloat. I have two kids, and a husband, and there was just a lot. And my husband was like, "You need to find something to do, to help with your stress levels, help, just find your thing." And I had never, I started Googling and I came across art journaling and stuff like that. And I had always, when I was younger, been inspired to be creative, but I always thought I wasn't good. Like I couldn't draw, I couldn't paint, that's, for people who are talented or, and that's just not me. And so when I came across art journaling and like the low pressure nature of it and how it could really just be whatever you wanted, I was like, that sounds like something that I would be interested in because that's, something to help with my stress, give me something to do, but also, I don't have to have that pressure. And so that's where I started. And then I started posting on Instagram for one of Ray Missigman's challenges
Mm-hmm.
when she was doing the mark making monthly challenges or something. So I started posting, and then that, I just haven't
There
stopped.
you go. Just once it starts, it doesn't stop. But I do think it's funny that your husband's like, you need to have something to do.
Yeah.
like like school and work and kids wasn't enough to do, but it is so important for us to have an outlet so
Hmm.
so that we have something to nurture, nourish, and just something for ourselves, especially I think for all humans, but it's nice as women too because that pressure to just be on all the time for your kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
that that was really important to me too when my kids were young. That's when I found scrapbooking. It was a
Hmm.
big thing in the 2000s.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, yeah.
My mom used to do it all the time, but I used
That's
to
a
do it with her too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all good. I'm mom age. It's fine.
I mean, I am too. My kids are teenagers, so
Yeah,
it's
okay.
yeah. But yeah, I remember those scrapbooking days.
Yeah, it was, and I'm listening to a lot of people tell their story that they went through that phase too in the 2000s and came out the other side really wanting to explore the creativity further than just with the way that you use someone else's materials, but to like really get messy with the paint and all of that kind of fun stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love how you explained that using art journaling is a way of is creative expression without having to, make something proper. It's just for play. And well, since the Virtual Art Summit's all about play, that's really a great thing. How has creating evolved for you over time?
So I went from, I think, doing a lot of the more like art journal kind of stuff where you're like using a bunch of different stencils and a bunch of stamps and you're, creating like I don't know how to describe that, but you're kind of using all of your mixed media tools in one page and like trying to fit as much on there as possible. I kind of went from that to exploring more like abstract art and botanicals and collage and kind of exploring more, I guess, traditional art styles. And that's where I am at now. I love everything. I love regular what would I would say normal art journaling would be versus, I love creating abstract art. I love creating botanical art and I love collage and I do all of it. And sometimes I feel like maybe it's a little like I'm doing too much or I'm trying too many things. But I think that's part of the play and the exploration and stuff. And that's how I've grown as an artist and kind of come into my own element. I remember there was a point where I was trying to emulate other people's art, which isn't a bad thing, but
It's
I
normal part of the process.
right, exactly. And I remember being in that place and being kind of unhappy. And it was when I decided to try something for myself, I guess, that I hadn't seen before. That's when something clicked and it like unlocked, you know? And then I just started going off and exploring all these different things. And it was really cool.
I think when you're talking about like traditional art journaling, it might be like the bullet journals or the stamps and stencils and things that
Yeah.
belong, like you're using other people's items and tools and stickers and whatnot into your journal versus like a true art journal where you're just like everything goes, all the mediums.
Exactly, exactly. And I have tons of journals in my closet that are full of, stencils and stamping. And again, there's nothing against that. I still use, stencils in my different types of art, but really exploring like doing it in my own way and exploring like different styles of art has really kind of opened everything up for me. And
Mhm.
that's where I find my joy, I think.
Yeah, to be able to just play with all those juicy layers. And I think that was the same transition for me. It's like scrapbooking was using other people's ideas and materials and putting them together a certain way, and then coming for me, it was a full circle coming back to art because I was an artist before I became a mom. But I put it away for whatever reason, and I did the scrapbooking for a good decade. But there was a conscious choice in me to come back to art because I wanted to play with my ideas and then reuse them and play with them again. And I think that's one of the fun things about art journaling. It's like you get to make the elements and then use the elements in the art journal, if that makes sense, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the things too that I think like you said, reusing things and taking those ideas and doing them again in different ways and stuff like that. I had always felt like when I first started out, well, I've already done that, so I can't do it again, you know? And so now I'm like, I've done that and I'm doing it again and I'm doing it again and I'm doing it again and I'm having fun, you know?
Oh, yeah. And that repeat process is how you that's how you end up finding your own voice anyway. And it
Hmm.
evolves from wherever it was that you started into something that like morphs. I find that when I limit myself to like an idea that I want to put on repeat, I end up being more creative
Yeah.
because you
It's
kind of
something
have to push
about,
yourself.
right. And it's something about putting like a limit on yourself that I don't know, it makes it easier, I think, sometimes to create. Some people don't like limits, and I am one of those. Like I have 17 journals going on at once, and I don't like to limit myself in my supplies. But sometimes, if I have a goal to focus on, like okay, I have this limit of I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to do it a lot. It may, like you said, unlocks that creativity a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Are you doing the 100-day project?
I am.
Yes. So that would be a good example of how some sort of parameters forces you to almost explode your creativity a little bit more. What are you doing for the 100-day project?
I am doing 100 days of quick abstract studies. That's what
Oh,
I called them. So
fabulous.
yeah. So right now I'm kind of more focusing on just maybe landscape type abstracts. I feel like that's going to evolve towards some florals and stuff like that over time because I didn't want to limit myself to one style, but
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wanted it to be something that I could do quickly. So I didn't think too much about it because that's where I get tripped up is that I'm overthinking and now suddenly, I did too much or I hate it or, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm trying to get, quick and just have fun and play with what I have.
Yeah. So do you set a timer at all? Or you just know when you've gone too far?
Um, but I know when I've gone too far. I did try to do two with a timer, and that did not work out very well. So I know that I can't do that.
Yeah. It's just about stopping before you've gone too far, I guess, for the part about quick, like you said.
Yeah.
I love that though, because that is still a parameter when you're saying, I'm going to have fun, I'm going to make it easy, and I know it's going to be abstract. Other than that, like anything can go, but it's still enough of a limitation with the 100-day project. A lot of people just show up and knowing exactly what they're going to do. They actually end up making so much more art in such a much quicker. I'm not even doing the 100-day project. And here I am like obsessed with what is everybody doing? I'm watching what everyone's doing. And then I watch their creativity explode. And I'm really excited for everyone. I'm kind of doing it in the sense that I've been encouraging through my business, Color Crush Creative, to explore all the different versions of play, which
Hmm.
is the theme of the virtual art summit. So speaking of play, like what do you find is like the most playful thing that you can do when you're like, what sets you up for having that playful, joyful experience?
I'd say the most fun, the most joy I get is when I am creating collage papers, which, you know, we all have a ton of them, most likely. Uh,
So many,
because
so
yeah,
many.
but there's just something about sitting down and like putting out 4 or 5 different paint colors and, having some mark making supplies and some old book pages and just going to town and spending a couple hours just making pages because there's nothing, there's not, again, there's no rules for that. You're, just spreading paint around or making marks and you don't have to think about it. And before you know it, you're got a pile of them that you probably didn't need, but are definitely going to use
Right,
eventually.
because this is the biggest secret to loosening up, and for everyone who's listening right now, and you're like, oh, but it's so precious, and you sit down and you think you're going to make a perfect painting. There's no such thing. But
Mhm.
that's why I love making the collage papers too, is because you know they're destined to be cut, used, folded, scrapped, whatever, glued, painted over again. So it's not precious, and you can explore and play and just kind of see what comes out of you. I agree with you completely. And there's so many different fun ways to make those pages. The collage material is piling up here too, for sure. Do you use the jelly plate?
I do. So I have a few different ways that I like to make my collage papers, but I do have the jelly plate, and that one I'll spend, an afternoon just going through and printing. And there, like, I'll have all my stencils and my masks and stuff like that. And I think I did it recently, a session for a YouTube video, and I sat there for like 2 hours, and then I had to go through and I had to edit it all out because I was like, nobody's gonna stay here for 2 hours and watch me jelly print. But it's so much fun.
It is. This is when I really just want that fun, playful afternoon and all the, I'm ignoring all the chores and all the must do. I pull the jelly plate out as well because you just can do it for the longest time. You put on a good podcast or whatever, and it's just like
Mhm.
such bliss.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I actually love too to make collage papers. I'll just like paint with my fingers. Eventually,
Oh,
I start finger painting and like just mushing paint around and everything, which it gets very messy, obviously. But that's probably the most fun is just mushing paint around with your fingers and getting dirty. I
there
love
you
that.
go. There's a challenge. Everybody's
Yeah.
got to try what we did when we were kids and learn how to paint with their fingers again.
Yes.
Ah, that's super fun. What materials are you like obsessed with right now?
Right now I am obsessed with pastels of all shapes and sizes. And I've
Soft
been
pastel or oil pastel?
yes, both. Um, so I recently kind of reorganized my space and I put all of my soft and oil pastels in like a tray and did it by like color because I would never use them since they were in a box in
Right.
one of my drawers. So I put them out where I can see them. So now when I'm looking at, something that I've done and I'm like, what do I do now? I look up and I see the pastels and I go, that's what I do, and I grab the color that I want. So I have, my Neo colors and um all, sorts of different ones and they're all just right there in front of me so I can just grab them. And yeah, that's been my obsession
Oh, I
recently.
love it. Well, I'm big on oil pastels. I started off with soft pastels before I even picked up the acrylic paint. And I think now you're inspiring me to pull them all back out again. Oil pastels do for me make a really easy like final mark to make and like
Hmm.
that pop of color that I love doing that. So well, we've come up with quite a few really fun ideas as far as playful, but if you give any advice to our, so I should call them like summiteers, everyone who's joined the virtual art summit. And this, being the fourth year, it's getting bigger and better every year. And so it's so much fun. But I love when my guest artists are able to like really impart a lot of good, juicy wisdom because the reason I picked play this year is I noticed it was needed so much after everything we've been through the last three,
Hmm.
4, 5 decade, whatever. Life itself got very heavy. And when we bring back this, just the joy of making the play in our life and the spirit again, I'm hoping for a shift. So I would love to hear what you would advise your listeners, students, and anyone who's participating.
Um, so as far with play, to me, the biggest thing is to take that pressure off of yourself because I feel like so much of the art space right now is sharing on Instagram and social media and stuff like that and having something that is worth sharing. And I think that hinders a lot of people from being able to play. I know that it affects me as well. And that's something that I am actively working on, shifting that to not caring if something is Instagram worthy or if people like it or if they don't. So I feel like that is one of the biggest hindrances of play. And if you can get that out of your mind and just literally play, do what you want. If it comes in your mind, try it out. If you don't like it, oh well. If you do, that's awesome. And you're able to, share it with people, share your joy. And yeah, I mean, that's just my thing is just getting over that hurdle of caring, I guess, what people think and, instead just do your thing.
Yeah, it's that daily grind of what am I going to make for Instagram today? I think it is squeezing the joy out of the making. It's like
Yeah.
what we should start with, how can I play and have fun? And if after I've done that, I have something to show, maybe I'll show it. Maybe I won't. Doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. Or
Yeah,
show it even if
exactly.
it's a mess, because I think that's what we need is more of that human side of us, and what oftentimes, I don't know if you find this like the thing that you're like, oh, that was terrible, everyone else loves.
Yes. My husband, okay, so I show him all of my art, right? And he probably gets super annoyed, but he sits there and he looks at it and I'm like, how stupid is this? How dumb does this look? And he's like, that's like the best thing that you've ever made. What are you talking about? And
Oh,
so yeah, the things that I hate, and I'm like, just tell me that it sucks and I'll throw it away. He's like, no, that's my favorite. I don't know what you're talking about. So, and there's always going to be someone out there who's going to like it, whether it's a hot mess or, a masterpiece. It's,
right.
you know,
It's all in the eye of the beholder, but it's supposed to be about the process and not the finished
exactly.
product. The finished product is the bonus. The
Yeah.
process is the reason we're doing it in the first place, an outlet, an expression of our creativity, and a play, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So you've got a few online courses. Do you
I
have any?
do.
You do. I want to talk a little bit about how people can connect with you as they're listening to you. And YouTube sounds great. Like I'm going to have to go look up your YouTube channel now. Even if it was 2 hours, I would just put it on double time and just watch while I'm doodling or doing my thing. So,
Um, so I have a website. It's lauramixedmedia.com, and that has all of my social media links and stuff like that. So I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, all at Laura Mixed Media. And I have one class available on my website. I'm about to have two. I've recorded and edited my second class, and I just have to do the voice recording. So one of the limitations of my home studio is that it's in the middle of the house. Um so I have to set aside time like and schedule it with my
yeah.
kids like don't bother me and don't be loud. I'm recording. Um so I just have to do the voiceover for that
I don't know
class
how
and
that
that'll be
works
up
for
there.
you, but it's always a hot mess for me.
Yeah, it is not easy, especially,
No.
we have the dogs and
Yep.
everybody. It's crazy. But so which is why it's taken me so long to get the second class out. But it's on my to-do list. I'm gonna do it and that'll be there soon. And I have stencils that I've designed and some washi tape that I've designed. That's all on my website as well.
Oh,
Yeah. So and people, want to sign up for my newsletter, which again, you can do on the website. I send out probably once or twice a month and just like stuff, what's going on and new things coming. So
that's
yeah.
awesome. I bet by the time everyone's listening to this, your new course will be out.
Yes, that's the
Yes.
goal.
So, do you want to explain what the new course is? Because my whole
Yeah.
goal when I do the virtual art summit, besides us all having a whole lot of fun, is to make sure that my guest artists get the visibility that they need and the new customers that are just like so eager and excited to join them in what they're doing.
So I could show it to you.
Yes, please.
So it is an accordion book where we're gonna do, it's like a master sheet. So I do the front and the back with different collage papers and then paint over it, add stencils, and I added these little pockets, if I could find one. There. It was like a little pocket with some tags and stuff. So I do these collage tags and all sorts of stuff. So that is, and it's a different style of accordion book because it does like this other little flippy thing where it goes like this, like up and down.
Ah, you can go
Yeah.
two ways with it. I love
Yeah.
it. What a fun class. All right, so I love to end these interviews with my favorite question. What is your big audacious dream? Like looking into the future of where you want to go with art, with your courses, with your life, with whatever, get on a spaceship to Mars, whatever it is your big audacious dream. What is it? I'd love to hear.
So I would love to, because right now I work, Monday through Friday, full-time job. I would love to be able to not have to do that and be able to have art as my business. I love to teach more classes, whether that's online or in person. Um, One day we would like to have some land out somewhere, and I would love to have, like a studio where people could come and, gather and create. And so I think that's my biggest dream, is to have that place where people could come and connect and create and learn and play.
I love it. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for not only being part of the Virtual Art Summit, but spending your evening chatting with me, Laura. It was so fun to get to know you, and I am so grateful to you for participating in the Virtual Art Summit this year.
Of course, thank you so much for asking me. I'm so happy to be a part of it.
All right, everyone, you heard lauramixmedia.com. You can find everything to connect with her. So, all right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.